During the Nuremberg Trials, in which the main leaders and officials of the Nazi regime were tried, a deeply troubling question emerged. How could ordinary people obey orders without questioning them, even when those orders directly conflicted with their moral principles? This question remained largely unanswered until decades later, when the trial of Adolf Eichmann in Jerusalem reignited the debate. Eichmann, identified as the architect of the Holocaust, used arguments similar to those of most of the defendants at Nuremberg, presenting himself as an obedient bureaucrat and concluding almost every response with the simple claim, "I was only following orders." Directly inspired by this case, the American psychologist Stanley Milgram of Yale University sought answers that could challenge the idea, widely held at the time, that extreme obedience was an exclusively German trait. In his 1961 experiment, Milgram recruited 40 ordinary people with no history of violent behavior. Upon arrival at the laboratory, they were assigned the role of teacher. Their task, to apply electric shocks to a learner each time he gave an incorrect answer. They did not know that the learner was actually an actor and the shocks were fake, but the stress experienced by those administering the shocks was real. With each mistake, the voltage increased. 150 volts, 300 volts, 450 volts, and if the participant hesitated, the experimenter, embodying an authority figure, used 4 specific verbal prods. Please continue. The experiment requires that you continue. It is absolutely essential that you continue. You have no other choice. Milgram and his research team had expected that only slightly more than 1% of the subjects would administer the maximum shock, but the reality was disconcerting. 65% of participants administered 450 volts, despite the learner's screams and their own visible distress. Milgram explained this outcome through the agentic state theory, which holds that under authority, individuals cede their moral responsibility, viewing themselves as mere instruments of another's will, rather than as accountable agents of their own actions. Milgram's experiment sparked an ethical storm due to the deception involved and the stress inflicted on participants, yet it also revealed something essential. Obedience is a human instinct, and under the right authority, almost anyone can cross boundaries they never imagined they would. Today, the Milgram experiment reminds us that it is not monsters, but ordinary people placed in situations of authority who can commit atrocities. As Milgram himself observed, it is not so much the kind of person, but the kind of situation that determines action. From this perspective, his findings urge us to practice ethical disobedience when conscience demands it. For although history does not repeat events in identical form, it does repeat the same human mechanisms.